Hello friends, I am Dilip Singh. Uh, After watching this video lecture, if you feel that it was really helpful in order to learn the concepts, then please like and subscribe the video and feel free to comment or query if any. So, welcome to the 8th lecture of tutorial series for web programming. Today we will learn how to use tables in our web page, right? So we know that tables can be used to arrange our data. Data can be text data or image or links or even other table in table forms, means row and columns. We know that table basically represented by its rows and columns. Okay, so how we can create the table in HTML document? Yes, by using table tag. Okay, and table tag will create the table, and within that table we will create the row by using another tag, that is tr. Okay, so tr for table row, and each row is divided into cells, right? That data cells, basically those data cells will be created by td tag. All right, so in order to create a basic table, we have to use these three tags together. Okay, so we have to create the table by table tag. Within that table tag we will use tr to create the rows. We can use as many times tr tag, that depend on how many rows you want to create. Suppose you want to create 3 rows, then we have to use tr tag 3 times within the table tag. Okay, and td basically used to create the cells. Okay, so every row is divided into cells, and cells we can create with the help of td tag. Okay, after these basic tags, we will see some other tags of the table, like th tag. Okay, which basically used to create table heading, right? So whenever we want to create a table heading, in place of td tag we will use th tag. Okay, so we will see in demonstration how we can do all these things. Okay, so generally we know that we put top row of the table as a table heading. Okay, well, the another tag is caption tag, right? So the caption tag we can use for putting the caption of the table, or caption or title. Okay, title of the table. Okay, which basically shows at the top of the table. Right now there are some attributes of table tag, and not only table tag, even the other tag that we use inside the table, like td or tr. So attributes of the table, comma, tr comma td comma th tags. Okay, so this is the some of the attributes are directly used within the table tag, and some of in tr and td or th tag. Okay, so we'll see one by one all the attributes. So the first attribute is border attribute, which is basically used to set the border of the table. Okay, like in last video lecture we have seen how we can set the border of image, which basically the border set around the image. Okay, and we can specify the thickness of the border in pixel. And there is another attribute in table, that is cell spacing and cell padding. So let's see with the help of one image. We will understand what exactly cell spacing and cell padding is. So here, so suppose this is a table, right? So that in this table there are how many rows? This is the first row, this is the second row, and this is the third row, right? And how many columns? 2 columns. This is the first column and this is the second column. So basically this the rows are divided into cell. This is the first row having 2 cell. One is this cell name and another one is the cell salary. Okay, and we can see here this first row is basically the heading of the table. Okay, and under the heading the other rows are, this is the second row with 2 cell having the values like name Dilip Singh, the salary $10,000, Subodh Singh salary $12,000, right? So this is the table. Now what exactly border of the table? So this is the border of the table, you can see right here, that in black or grayish color. Okay, so this is the border of the table. And when we talk about cell spacing, means we can set the space between the cells with the help of cell spacing attribute. Okay, so between the cell means this is the space between these 2 cells, this is the space between these 2 cells. So with the help of cell spacing we can set the space between the cells. And similarly the another attribute was padding, cell padding, right? So with the help of cell padding we can specify the distance between the cell content and the cell border here, right? This space is called padding, correct? So we can make this padding more or less as per our requirement, right? So we can see here cell spacing, set the space between the cells. Then cell padding, set the space between cell borders, right? Set the space between cell borders and the content within the cell. Okay, cell border and the content within the cell. Okay, now the another attribute is call span and row span, these 2 attributes. So call span, basically you may be familiar if you have used any word processor like Microsoft Word. And in Microsoft Word, if you have created a table, so there may be an option of merging either 2 cells, means merging either 2 columns or merging either 2 rows in order to create a single row. Similarly in HTML document we can merge 2 or more columns into a single column with the help of call span attribute. And similarly we can merge two or more rows into a single row with the help of row span attribute. Okay, and now height and width attribute. So that already we have seen in case of image in last lecture is used to set the height of width. Similarly here height and width attribute is used to set the height and width of the table within the web page. Okay, so now let's see all these things one by one in the demonstration. Okay, so here again I am having the basic HTML code structure and the title I have given using table in our web page. Okay, so let us first save it. So I will save it in my folder that I have created, my web, and I'll name it table.html. Okay, now let us first create a basic table. So we know that in order to create the table we have to use table tag, and we have to close the table tag. Okay, now here within the table tag, now suppose I have to make 3 rows and each row is divided into 3 cells, means 3 column, right? So what I will do, we know that how I can create the row with the help of tr tag. Here I have created tr tag and I will close tr tag somewhere here. Okay, so this table now contained 1 row, and that row have, in order to create 3 column, means every row have 3 cell. So this row will contain now 3 cell, and we know that how to create the cell with the help of td tag. Okay, so this is the first td tag, and suppose the value in the cell, what value you want to put. Suppose I want to put here value name. Okay, and similarly I will copy it and paste it. So I want 3 cell, so I have here under 1 row I have created now 3 cell. The first cell contain name, second cell contain suppose age, and third cell contain address. Okay, now so this is how first row is created. We can check and save it, and now I will go to the folder table, double click it, see, yeah, so now the table is created, the name, age and address, right? But you can see here this table doesn't have any border around the any cell, or even overall table doesn't have any border, because we have not set the border attribute, right? But this is a table, right? This is a table where border is not visible. Okay, so we'll see how we can make the border visible. But we got one row with 3 cell here. Okay, so now let's come back to our code, and if I want to set the border property, so the border should visible, what I will do, in table I'll go there and put border equal to suppose 2 pixel, right, and save it. and now I will check. After refreshing, here you can see now the border is visible. Okay, now the border is visible and the border thickness is 2 pixel. All right, now similarly if I want to create the another row, so what I will do, I will, after the first row here, after the closing tag of first row, I will start another row by another tr tag, which is for table row, and I will close somewhere down tr tag here. Okay, and now again within the tr tag I will create 3 cell in order to put 3 column. Okay, in order to divide that row, that second row, into the 3 cells. Okay, so we know how to create the cells, td and td, right? And here suppose name Dilip Singh. All right, similarly I will copy this and paste twice. Okay, the another name Subodh Singh. Okay, and some another name, maybe XYZ Singh. All right, so now okay, sorry, here we know that the first column should contain name, the second cell should contain age, the third cell should contain address, right? So to make the uniformity from the first rows, let us do the second row also contain the same things. So name is Dilip Singh, age suppose 30 years, right? And address suppose XYZ. Okay, now I will save it and check it. Yes, you can see the name lives in age 30 year, address XYZ. Okay, similarly the third row, so how I'll use third row, I'll copy it simply and paste it, and in place of name suppose Singh, Subodh Singh, age maybe 5 months, and address XYZ, the same address suppose, right? I will save it and yeah, you can see here, right? So this is how we can create the simple table in our web page. Okay, now let us use some other tags. So we have seen, in order to create the heading, look at here, th tag we use, table heading, and generally we know that top row is a heading, like here this should be a heading, right? Because name, then age, then address, so this is should be heading, so it should look some different than the other cells. So how? By using th tag, right? So how we can use th tag? In place of td we will use th tag where you want to add heading. So here we will go. Suppose I want to first row to make heading, so this is the first row after the table. So in place of td, what I will use? I will use th. So here I will use th. In place of td, I will use th. Similarly here th, and now I'll save it and I'll see. Right now there is no change, all the cells are similar. If I'll refresh it, now you can see the heading cell become what? The formatting is now, it is in center of the cell and bold. The content of the heading cell is bold. Okay, so this is how we can use the th. Now the another tag under table is a caption, which is basically used to put the caption of the table, right, or the title of the table. So let's see how we can use. So the caption basically we use just before the table tag. We'll use caption. Okay, and we'll close caption tag, and within that we'll give, suppose this name is, suppose list of employees, right? So save it, and I'll go to my browser and will check what is now changed. So here you can see now this table having title or the caption, that is list of employees attached with this table. Okay, so this is how we can add the caption or the title using caption tag. Okay, now let us see the attributes, right, one by one. So border we already have done, border 2. Now cell spacing and cell padding. So we know that cell spacing used to insert the space between the cells, right? So like here these are the cells, and I want to make here this space and this space should be a little larger. How I can do? Of course using cell spacing attribute. So here I will go there, and in table I will put what, another attribute, that is cell spacing, equal to in pixels how much space you want. Suppose I'll give 5 pixels, right? So I'll save here, and now here after refresh you can notice how the space between the cells of every cells are now increased with a 5 pixel. Here the space is increased to the 5 pixel, and if I'll do in place of 5 I'll do 15 and save, so it would be more clearly visible. Yeah, see, every cell, the space between every cell is now increased with a 15 pixel, right? So this is how we can set the space between the pixel, right? So let us make it 5 pixel, because 15 pixel is seems too wide, right? Now cell padding. So cell paddings again in pixels we can set, suppose 5, right? And now save it. So here cell padding means we are going to increase the distance between the content of the cell and the cell border, right? So I will refresh it, and you can see the content and the cell border. Here the space is increased within the cell. Well, it will be more visible if I will increase the value, suppose 5 to 15, and save it and refresh the page. You can see the content and the border of the cell, this is space, this is called padding, cell padding, right? So we are basically increasing the distance between the actual content of the cell and the cell border, right? Okay, now what others attributes are, you can see here, call span and row span. Okay, so call span and row span is used to merge one or more columns or one or more rows. So suppose I want to merge here 2 columns, right? So if I want to merge two column, so remember that this is the first cell and these two cell I want to merge. So here in second cell, what I will give, since we are merging column means two cells, so we will provide here call span equal to, and we'll give the number of cells that we want to merge. So here two cell, so here after the first cell the second and third cell will be merged, right? So now this third cell explicitly we will not give. Why? Because that second and third two cell are merged here, right? And this is the first cell. Okay, let's say I'll save it, I'll go to the browser and I will refresh it. Have you seen this? In row 2 this is the first cell and this second and third cell is merged here and become single cell, right? So this is how we can use call span in order to merge the cell, merge the column. Okay, similarly if I want to merge the row, then how? So let us see how we can use row span. Okay, so for using row span, here I will create, we are already having 3 rows, I will create 4th row and 5th row, and the first cell of 4th row and the first cell of 5th row I will merge with the help of row span attribute, right? And after merging this, here I will use the content maybe phone number. Okay, so the phone number, any person can have more than one phone number, so the 4th row second cell will contain the first phone number of that person, and the 5th row second cell number will contain the second phone number of that person. So let us see how we can do it in the coding. So here at the last row, now I will add 4th row. So you know that for adding the row we use tr, and I will close here tr tag. Okay, so this is the 4th row, and under the 4th row I will create the first cell by td. Okay, here this is the first cell, and first cell will hold what? Phone number, and the second cell, the first cell will hold the this title phone number, heading phone number, and the second cell will hold the actual phone number. So suppose this phone number is 9856, something like this. Okay, all right, now so this is the 4th row. Now let us create the 5th row again by using tr tags, opening, and now I will close tr tag here, and in the 5th row the first cell here I want to merge the first cell of the 4th row with the first cell of the 5th row. So here I should not specify the first cell of the 5th row, because the first cell of the 5th row is merged with the first cell of the 4th row. Okay, so for merging here I will use row span equal to how many cells we want to cover? 2 cells suppose. Okay, so here in 5th row directly I will give the second cell, which is basically the value of the phone number, maybe the second phone number of the person. The first is something 986 is this, the second phone number maybe something 8466. Okay, now I will save it and let's see what happened into the browser. So here I will refresh it, and now you can see here clearly what we have now: row 1, row 2, row 3, and this is 4th row, and this is 5th row, and the first cell of the 4th row and the first cell of the 5th row is merged here with the help of row span. Okay, and the second cell of the 4th row contain the first phone number, and the 5th cell contain the second phone number of any person, right? So this is how we can use the row span. Here we use the call span in order to merge two cell within a same row, and here we used row span in order to merge two cell within different row. Okay, so now let's see the last or final attribute that we have seen, that we have learned today, and that is the how to set the size of the table with the help of height and width attribute. So here in table tag I will go to the end, and after one space I will put height of the table. Maybe I want to set it 400 pixel, and after one space again I will specify the width of the table with the help of width attribute. So suppose I want to width to be 500 pixel. Okay, so height is 400 pixel, width is 500 pixel, that we have specified here. So I have saved it, and now let us check in the browser. Yes, after refreshing you can see the height and width of the table is now changed into the browser as per we specified. So height is now 400 pixel and width is now 500 pixel. Okay, so this is all for this lecture, and we will see you in the next lecture. Thank you guys.